Hi, welcome back to Therapy Designs. If you're new to this channel, my name is Kelly, and this channel is all about creating print-on-demand designs using Canva. So if that is something that you're interested in, please hit like and subscribe and stick around. So in today's video, I'm going to show you how to create this design right here. This is just a reindeer face, but we did make it from scratch. Sorry, that's my dog coughing in the background. So I did add the ornaments, we selected the eyes, the antlers, we created the nose, and we created the sparkle effect on the nose to give it that, sparkly reindeer nose. So if this is something that you'd like to learn about, please do stick around. So here we are on Canva's home page. And again, I'm going to be designing a fun Christmas t-shirt. So we're going to go up to the top where we see custom size. I'm going to click there. I'm going to be selecting 4500 by 5400 pixels as usual. And as usual, I'm going to be designing for a darker color shirt, a black shirt. Keep in mind, black, navy, blue, and the dark heather gray are going to be your three biggest selling t-shirts. Everything else, you'll sell a little bit here and there, but really the vast majority are going to be those three colors. So designing for darker colors is always going to be more beneficial than lighter colors unless it's a very specific design made for a light color. So just keep that in mind. So this one, we're going to do something really simple. We're going to do kind of a reindeer face. So for any holidays, the little face designs are always popular. So for Halloween, you can do like the jack-o'-lantern face. For Thanksgiving, the turkey face. For Christmas, the Rudolph face or an elf face or something like that. Easter, the Easter bunny face. So if you just put a big face on a shirt, surprisingly, a lot of people will like that kind of style. But you have to make yours different because there's already a lot of those up. So what we're going to do is we're going to create a reindeer face. We're going to do it Rudolph, and it's going to be a big red nose. I'm going to put kind of a red glitter sparkle mask over the nose to make it a little bit more unique. And so in order to do that, I'm actually just going to start with the red nose. Now, easy enough, I can go ahead and hit C on my keyboard. That's going to pull up a circle. So if I just wanted his nose to be a circle, perfect, that's good. If I want it to be more of an oval, what I can do is drag this down and it's going to create more of an oval shape, and so I can play with it there until I get more of the shape I want. So depending on how much of an oval or how much of a circle I like, I think that's probably pretty good. And so right there, something like that is going to make for a really easy, good Rudolph nose. So the very first thing I'm going to do is just call this a frame. I'm just going to call this nose frame, and I'm going to share, download, have it be a transparent background. Hit download, and that is my frame for my Rudolph nose. Now all I'm going to do is pick something red and sparkly to use as a clipping mask. So I can go up to the top where it says elements, and I'm just going to go ahead. I'm going to type in red glitter. Oops, didn't even spell it right, but there we go. And I'm going to go ahead and look at photos here. And there's all sorts of fun photos of red glitter. So now it just depends kind of how fine or how coarse you want it to be. Some of these are a little bit rougher around the edges there. Some of it's going to be a little bit more fine glitter. Obviously there's some darker, there's some lighter. So you can sort of play with sort of which style you want. If you want it to be extra sparkly, I mean, you can put little sparkles over it too. So just kind of think about what you want in terms of your glitter mask. And you can try several of them out too. And you can make several noses and then decide which nose you like better too. So, you're not stuck to just one thing, but you can obviously see there's a lot of different, red glitters. And of course, if let's say I was to go ahead and take this one, I could always edit photo, go to adjust, and I could always make it a little bit brighter if I thought it was a little too dark. Maybe I want Rudolph's nose to be pretty bright, right? I could add some contrast if I wanted to get more of that speckled look, or bring down the contrast, so I can sort of play with that. I can play with the saturation a little bit, depending on, kind of what shade I want. So you can obviously see how you could, just sort of play around with these. Sharpness, it's very sharp. I can bring that sharpness down, make it a little more blurry, bring that sharpness up. It's going to give it a much more grainy appearance. So these are all things that you could play with if you wanted to. So that's just one way to get a little texture into Rudolph's nose. Another thing that you could do, if I'm back at elements, would be maybe I put red sparkle instead of glitter. Sparkle is always a fun one too, and so there's different sparkly ones that you could do. See if you find anything there that you like. If you're not finding anything under red sparkle, you can always go to graphics, and there will be some sparkles that you could add in. There's even things like little itty bitty stars. I mean, you could really shrink that down and put a couple of those in. And if you wanted to know where it was on his nose too, I could go up to this little checkered box where it says transparency. I can bring that transparency down. Now I can see where his nose is. So now if I wanted to add like a sparkle almost right in the middle of his nose there, or towards the top of his nose, I could. I don't know if you guys can see that. It's pretty. Let me bring that down a little bit more. So now you can see where that sparkle would be, and I could have it be off to the side or off to one side. Doesn't matter. So if I just wanted to put a little sparkle on his nose, I could do it that way. I could add a bunch of those to get more of a glittery look. I could just add just some general sparkles. So if I skipped red sparkle and I just put sparkle, there's usually all sorts of different sparkle masks that you could add on that are fun that you can do under graphics. So, you know, play with it. Don't be afraid to, you know, kind of try to make it your own or make it different. So after playing for a little bit, what I came up with was sort of this red glitter mask. And then I went ahead and did a graphic search for sparkle. And I looked down through all the different sparkle masks, and I found some of these down here that are just, you can see over the black here, they're just really fine little sparkles. And all I did was layer that right on top of the red to make the red look a little bit more sparkly, a little more contrasty. And I did keep this little one sparkle here on the nose. So I'm going to go ahead and use this. Once I have it all the way I want it, I'm going to go ahead and then just title this red nose mask. And then I can go ahead and download this right here. And I'm just going to hit download. Okay, once you have it downloaded, all you have to do is jump over to Photopea, which is what I use for all my clipping masks. I'm just going to hit the center button that says open from computer. It's going to pull up your downloads. You can go ahead and select your nose frame, which is just an oval, and it can be any oval or circle you like. There it is. Then I'm going to go up to the top left-hand corner again. I'm going to hit open and place. It's going to pull up my downloads again. This time I'm just going to go ahead and go with that red nose mask that I just made. It should pull that up right over the top. There it is. And now I can just go to the top where it says layer, come down to where it says clipping mask, and there is now my Rudolph nose sparkly red clipping mask. So I'm going to go up to the top left here where it says file. Again, I can hit export as a PNG. Give it 1 second, a little box will come up, and then I just have to hit save, and so it's all ready to go. And I can jump right back over to Canva. And so it really should have been that fast and that easy. When I use Photopea for clipping masks, it really should just take a second, and it should be done that quickly. So if you're having trouble or it's not that fast for you, you can go ahead and drop some comments or questions in the comment section below. I try to help people out there, but it really should be really fast and easy. So now that I have that, I can honestly get rid of all of this. Sometimes I save it if I'm doing a design that I want to make some different arrangements for, but honestly, I think I'm happy with my nose. I'm going to go ahead and get rid of all of that. I'm going to go over to the left-hand side of my page where it says uploads, and I'm just going to upload that nose. So I'm going to hit upload files. It should pull up your downloads, and under your downloads, you should be able to get your Rudolph nose. Okay, once that's downloaded, you can just go ahead and click on that. It should pull it up onto your page. I'm going to go ahead and crop it down just so that it's a little bit easier to work with. I really just need the nose for this one. And now we're going to go ahead and get on with making Rudolph's face. So I'm going to bring that down. So we're going to go to the left-hand side where it says elements again, and this time I'm going to go ahead and put reindeer. And I can put reindeer antlers, depends on how specific I want to be. If I put reindeer antlers, this is what I get, and you can see there's all sorts of pre-made antlers that you can pick from. So if I'm doing something like that one looks pretty simple, I like those. Here's the exact same ones, only these have ears, and I do kind of like the ears, so you know what, I might stick with that. Oops. Now the thing that's going to limit how big this is how wide it can get in my page. So it is going to go side to side just like that, and that is as big as it's going to get. That means his nose is going to be sitting down here. Depends how big I want his nose to be. I'm going to want it to be kind of big for his head, like it's sticking out. So somewhere around there. Now I'm also going to want to put some eyes in here. You can put a hat, some holly. I'm going to put some ornaments dangling. So you can at this point kind of make it your own. And you can get some good ideas just by looking at what you're seeing here. So here's one that has a little bow. Here's one that has a little Christmas hat. There's a lot that have Christmas lights hanging. Some that have just little ornaments hanging. I mean, here's a reindeer that's already done, but don't really like it. Of course, you do want to make yours your own. Here's one that already has some ornaments, and it is again exactly the same, just with ornaments. So, I mean, you could, oops, let me show you that. Close enough to lined up. You could do something like that and use ones that already have ornaments. I'm going to do something very similar to this, only I am going to put my own ornaments on it. So I'm going to go ahead and get rid of this one. That way I can do my own ornaments. And of course, all of that's just to make it more unique. It's going to make it more your own. And so you can play with that however you want. And of course, here I am able, by the way, to change the colors. So if I want to change the colors of the antlers or anything like that, I totally can. And so that's nice too. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm just going to look for some eyes. So I'm just going to hit eyes and graphics. And there's all sorts of eye graphics that you can use. And you can try out some different ones and see what looks best. So always some fun eyes. I kind of like these pretty simple round eyes here. I just got to make them, you know, the right size for where I want them in his head. So something like that. And already I've got a pretty cool Rudolph going on with the red sparkle nose. And so you can go ahead, play, look. There's, like I said, tons of really cool eyes, angry eyes, happy eyes, surprised eyes, big eyes, cute eyes. I mean, if you wanted to go with like the blue eyes there, that's kind of cute too. So just depending on what all you want to do, you can go ahead and play around, and there's just tons of fun, cute eyes that you can play with. And so that's always fun there. I'm going to just stick with these, I think, because I just want to keep it simple. So now let's go ahead and add some flourishes to the antlers. Let's go ahead and put Christmas ornament. And a bunch of Christmas ornaments should come up. Now again, you can use photos or you can use graphics, whatever you like. Just go ahead and pick some fun ornaments. I like some, like that one's kind of cool. And so I can take some of these and just sort of tentatively place them where I want them. So depending on kind of how I want it hanging, if I want it hanging more over his ear or whatnot, maybe here might look good. I can shrink them down. Now I'm gonna have to, if I want it to look like it's hanging, put a line so it actually looks like there's like a string or something holding it. I can do that later. So for now, I can just pick some cool ornaments and go ahead and throw those up and see what I like here. Here's a cool one. It's kind of got that shiny look. I think that one's really fun. I want to get some different ones, some different styles, maybe different colors in here. And so again, just tentatively putting them where I like. Depends kind of how I want it to look like it's hanging. I'd like to get a greenish one. Ooh, I like the gold. That gold looks really pretty. I'm gonna put a gold one, maybe even over here. Gotta make that one a little bit smaller. It's gonna look like it's hanging there. I like some of the blue ones here too. In fact, I really like this one because it's got some snowflakes in it, and it already has a little ribbon attached, so I could even do that one there. Looks pretty cool as opposed to this one. Look at that, I'm already upgrading. I am gonna have to zoom in, by the way, when I go to put the strings to make sure everything looks like it's lined up right. I would want that to kind of look like it's right over the antler there, so something like that, so it looks like it's hanging. So you can kind of see how we would go about doing that. I'm looking for at least one more. I do want a green one, and I'd like it to kind of look realistic, because most of these look pretty realistic and have a good shine to them. That one's a fun one there. It's just plain green. There's probably some fun green ones that have sparkles, or some fun green ones that have more snowflakes. So I can keep looking this way. I can also go ahead and go to photos, because you know there's going to be some cool photos of ornaments here. So here's just a red one hanging, and that one's pretty cool there. And so I can see if I can find anything that I particularly like in terms of ornaments here. And if you find any of these that you like that have the white background, it would be really easy just to do a background remover on them. So don't worry about if it has a background or not, unless it's got a really busy background. But if it's just against white, that's really easy to just remove. And so that would be totally okay. There's a fun bluish looking one that's kind of sparkly. Okay, so once I've picked out some ornaments that I like, I do want to make them look like they're hanging. Now, fortunately, this one already came with a cool ribbon, so I don't have to do anything there. But some of the other ones I might have to add a little line, and it can be something really simple. So I can just hit L on my keyboard, and that will pull up a line by itself. I can make that line a little bit thicker so that I can see it somewhere there. And all of these lines are going to be really short. So let me just shrink this way down, and I need it to be level. I hate when it does that. Let me see if I can get it up here. That'll do. So here's my line, and I can go ahead and duplicate that line. So I need 1, 2, 3, 4 versions of that line. So I can go ahead and hit Control D, Control D, and Control D. Now I have 4 versions of that line, and each one of those lines is going to go up something like that. And don't worry, we're going to play with the color and all of that, and so that's pretty easy there. And again, I can use the arrows on my keyboard to adjust these however I need, whether I'm, going up, down, right, left. So let me go ahead and zoom in real good so I can see. So now I see what I've got here. And so I can go ahead, I'm going to use the arrows on my keyboard for each one. And I'm going to move it so it looks like it's in the center. Move it so it looks like it's going down. And then what I can do is I can change this color. And I can change the color to anything I want, whether I want it to be red or gold or anything. If I make it more of a light gold, maybe try to make it the same shade of gold that you see there, so that might look cool. And then all you're going to do is take the ornament, hit Control, and then your right bracket, and that will bring the ornament in front of the line, and it'll give a little bit of an illusion like it's hanging. Now you can see when I zoom out it'll look a lot better, but there you go. So I can do that. I can even put a little bow here if I want to hide it a little bit better. That's another option too, would be to put bows on everything. So just one at a time, I'm going to change the color of the lines to whatever I think is going to kind of look best in terms of, there's another gold one there, and that one I can again hit Control and right bracket on my ornament, and that's going to bring my ornament to the front there. And so that looks pretty cool. And in fact, I like that shade better than this shade, so I might go ahead and change that there. Let's see. Something like that. I might play with this more. I might even make this one more red, or I might just keep this one white. They don't all have to be the same color, of course. It just depends on what's going to look best. Let me come over here. Again, I'm going to use the arrows to line that up perfectly in the center. And then I'm going to go ahead, pick a color that I like off of here, something goldish. Maybe a little darker than that. Let me see what I can get. That's gonna look okay. That might look cool. And again, I'm gonna bring the ornament to the front. That looks pretty cool. And then I've got this one, and this one might also look good as just white. Something like that looks okay. So now what I'm gonna do is zoom back out. And you can see zoomed out how those just sort of look like they're hanging. And again, if I want to put a bow there, because I think a bow might look better, that would be an easy thing to add too. So I could always just put bow up here in my element search. And I could go for photo, I could go for graphic, doesn't matter. I'm looking for something that looks more a ribbony bow. Again, I can go to photos and see what I find. So here's some fun bows that are kind of cool, except for the fact that I'd want it more like this, because I don't want any of the ribbon going outside. So if I just wanted to put a tiny little bow like there or something, I could do that. That's a little darker than I like, but I do like the idea of that. And so you can see how that kind of looks there. That's kind of cool. I just wish I had maybe a brighter bow. So again, after looking for a while, I've added a few bows that I found. Some of these were graphics, some of these were photos, but they were all just bows that I found that I thought looked good on the ornaments, that did kind of a good job of covering up the fact that there was just a line going into it. So now it really looks a little bit better like it's hanging. And again, it just gives it one more, flair that might make it stand apart from some other people's, because remember, there's going to be a lot of these kinds of designs up there. So if you're gonna add yours to the list, you might want to make it, as unique or, as impressive as possible. So I didn't want to show you guys me searching through 1,000 bows forever, but I did spend several minutes looking through my options and deciding what I wanted to pick. So it wasn't something that I did super quick. I did make sure that everything kind of looked good and went with it. Now you could leave it here, and again, you can add as many flourishes as you want in any of these. You could stop at any point, or you could add more. I could put a Santa hat on here. I could put some holly on here. Lots of different ways you can go with this. Oops, meant to go to elements here. So let's say I put holly. And again, I could go with whatever kind of holly that I wanted. Here's just a little simple one here. So something like that looks kind of cool. And you can see how something like that might look. I'm not really fond of that one because I don't like that it cuts through there. Here's another one that looks kind of cool. Here's one that looks a little bit more realistic. That's more of a drawing style. I do need my styles to all kind of go together. Here's a bow with holly. If I wanted to put a bow on its head, that doesn't look good. But you can sort of see how you could play with some of these and decide what you think looks best. Here's just a little bit of holly here, and I could angle it something like that. And so something like that might look good too. So you could definitely see how I could play with the size and the shape and everything, making it as big or as little as I want. So that looks pretty cool. Again, if you wanted to add something like a Santa hat, I could do that. Lots of different Santa hats, lots of different styles. Again, here's just an easy Santa hat. And if I wanted to make it look kind of like he was wearing it, maybe something here, it might look like that, and then I might have to remove the holly because that doesn't necessarily look good. Oops. But I could take that, I could put the holly on the other side, I could get rid of the holly, I could move the holly maybe more up there. So all different ways that I could play with this, and of course I could lose the Santa hat altogether. But there you go. I'm not a fan of the Santa hat. I think the Santa hat should go. And I think the holly should kind of go right back where it was, more or less. Something here like that, maybe. How did I have that angled? Perfect. So I'm just going to go ahead and say something like that. There you go. There's your Rudolph face, and you can be as creative with it as you want and do as many different versions as you want. Other ideas you could even have if you wanted to make it more specific to a sub-niche would be like, let's say I wanted to make each of the ornaments like basketballs or baseballs or something. I could put Rudolph wearing a baseball hat, so I could definitely cross niche that way. So there's just some ideas of how you could go and play with this. So now that I've got it the way I want it, I'm just going to go ahead and call it Rudolph face. And I'm going to go ahead, hit download. It's going to be a transparent background. And it is ready to download, and then it can go on shirts, stickers, whatever you want to put it on. That might look cool. Pop sockets would be a good one, phone cases, anything like that. If you have any questions about this or comments, go ahead, drop it in the comment section below. I try to get back to everybody as quickly as I can. I hope you guys are doing really well with your sales. I hope you're coming up with a lot of fun, creative designs, and I do hope to see you guys again next week. That's it for today's video. If you found that useful and would like to see more videos with helpful tips and tricks, be sure to hit like and subscribe and turn on your notifications so you don't miss any of the weekly videos. As always, keep growing and stay creative, and we'll see you next time.